Welcome back to our channel. Today I have two special guests with me, Maddie and Abby. They're two of my Shippensburg besties from dance, class, just everything. We're all three. We're all student teaching right now. So on Instagram yesterday, I asked people to ask us some questions that are like college-based, student teaching, dance, just like everything, because we're all kind of like living the same life right now. Do you guys want to introduce yourselves a little bit?
I'm Maddie. I'm a middle level education major. Concentrations are math and science, so I can teach like 4th to 8th grade. And I have 2 student teaching placements. My first one was at 8th grade math, and now I'm in 5th grade science.
And I'm Abby. I'm a pre-K to 4 major, just like Korynne. And so I've been in 2nd grade for my whole spring semester of my senior year.
Yeah. And then I am also a pre-K to 4 major, which you probably know, but I'm in 1st grade and I've been there for all like 14 weeks so far. We're almost done. We graduate in like 2 weekends from now. So we're kind of like wrapping it up, which is why we felt like we were a little bit more knowledgeable to like do this at this point, because we're almost done with student teaching. We've had like pretty much the whole experience. We've all like full-time taught at this point. So we have some good questions. I feel like honestly, like some of mine are kind of deep. Like I was showing them to Maddie and I was like,
Oh goodness.
they're gonna make us think a little bit. Ready?
I'm ready.
All right.
Okay, so the first one I have is, if you didn't choose education, what would your second choice for a career have been? You want to go first?
Yes, I'll go first. So I actually came to SHIP as like exploratory studies because when I applied to SHIP, I thought that I wanted to major in business and marketing.
Did I know this?
So
I knew you were exploratory studies.
Yeah.
I didn't know business.
So I was in DECA, which is like a business club in high school, and I thought that I wanted to go into like the marketing field. And then one day in the summer before I came to SHIP, I was like, you know what? I actually want to teach. And like I wanted to teach when I was younger, but then I like changed my mind and went to business and then went back to teaching. So I'd say probably business, probably marketing.
I mean, in high school and stuff, I always said like I wanted to be like a dance teacher, have my own studio. I feel like that's kind of changed now. And if I wasn't going to school to be a teacher, I would be a real estate agent. Like I love like houses and like interior design, or like an interior designer, I guess. Like I like literally want to be Joanna Gaines.
In high school for a little bit, like I thought I wanted to be an occupational therapist.
Oh.
I was like really into that for a while, and then I thought about like a speech pathologist. Like I wanted to be in the school setting, like no matter what. Either I was like occupational therapy or like doing speech classes. But I realized I'd rather just be a teacher, like with all the students like in my classroom the whole day.
Okay, so my second question is more just about college, and it's, what's our favorite thing about college?
That's easy.
Yeah, I would say dance since we're all on the dance team.
I feel like that is like kind of like hard because we're all on the dance team, and I feel like that's where all of our friends are.
Yeah.
Like, literally none of us have many friends outside of dance.
Yeah, just like being like in a club together with all our friends, and we do so much like with that group of girls. So just like that's our club, like that's our thing, the dance group.
And I feel like I always tell this to people who are going into college. I feel like you have to be involved in something. Like, if it's not dance or even a sport, just be involved in something, because I feel like that's really how you meet people, and it gives you something to do. Like, I know before, like, even the first 2 weeks I came to SHIP my freshman year, I just felt, like, kind of lost. Like, I feel like you need to have something to do, like, in your evenings, and just a way to meet people like that, so.
Okay, number 3, what is something you weren't expecting to happen that did happen? And I'm thinking this was like in our student teaching placements. Like, what was something we didn't expect that happened? I don't know. I feel like just in general, when I think back to like before student teaching, I just feel like I didn't really understand like what it was gonna be like at all. Like, even though I feel like I wasn't completely like thrown off, like I'm happy with how it's gone, like it hasn't been bad or anything, I feel like I just went in like super blind. Like I didn't know what like like real lesson planning even looked like.
Yeah.
Just because like in college, like you just do projects and like kind of fake lesson plans.
Yeah.
So I feel like just the whole process of like the teacher giving you subjects like kind of one at a time and like how they would expect you to lesson plan. I thought going in there was like a strict like template of like how you had to do things, and like at week 5 you took over math, at week 7 you took over reading. This is what your lesson plans had to look like. So I feel like something unexpected was just kind of like the amount of freedom that we were given.
Yeah.
Like my teacher did not have those guidelines like at all.
They really do let you like just take over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Really.
Like I really thought it was more structured, and it's just not.
Yeah.
I would say just being able to, like, how your day flows. Like, I don't know, I feel like I didn't expect, like, some lessons to take so long and some to take so short. Like, I don't know, you just have to really, like, it goes along with planning. Just, like, have enough stuff for the day. And then I didn't realize how, like, if I planned something for the day, it didn't mean that I was going to get to it. Because I feel like I always have so much planned and I never get to do all of it. So just, like, time management, I guess. Like, figuring out your students and how long it really takes them to complete a task. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
What was the one connection you made with a student or with an adult that you would take with you into your future job? Which is so hard.
Yeah, it's hard. I feel like I've made like super good connections with both of my like co-ops.
Oh
And I feel like I can like go to them in the future if I have like questions or need help with something. Like they've been so great, both of them.
Yeah. And I mean, we've only had one, but I think my co-op has been great and like super helpful and would definitely like give me anything I need in the future. Like, I'd be willing to help. And even like the other like women that teach the same grade as us, like our teammates, like they're also just super supportive and super nice and like are willing to like email me different ideas and resources and just how like helpful and willing to share everybody is. Like everyone's willing to help everybody out.
I would say, and with my students, I have one student who just comes from like a really rough background, and so I feel like I've learned so much from him, just what he's gone through and how it has affected him academically and emotionally. So I feel like I can take that with me to other students who have also gone through rough times and experiences. So I feel like I've learned a lot from my students, and even ones that haven't came from rough backgrounds, just different learning styles, different personalities. Like I feel like it will really help me in my future classroom.
I feel like I've learned a lot from just like the relationships I've met, like had with my students. And you don't realize like there's so many kids who are going through like such like hard things like at like such a young age, and just like talking to them and like helping them is like I've learned so much from that, and like I know I'll take that in like my classroom.
What are your tips for surviving student teaching? Surviving.
I would say planning ahead of time.
That was gonna be
like
mine.
yeah, definitely. Like I wouldn't say I plan out my weeks on a Sunday, but on Sunday I do like lay out a rough template, and then each night I don't spend tons of time, but I do look over the next day. Like, and then I also commute 30 minutes to and from my school, so when I'm in the car in the morning, I go through my day like multiple times, just to like, because if you get there and you don't know what you're doing, that is just like asking for the students to go crazy. Like you can't sit there and get your stuff together and try and figure out what you were teaching, because the kids will go crazy. Like you need to just have it, you need to know what you're doing. So planning.
You have to like show your kids like you know what you're doing, or they will like go crazy, right?
Fake it.
Yeah. I think like a big one for me is just like staying organized, like keeping everything in line, like having a set schedule for yourself. Like on Thursdays, like I start my lesson plan for like the next week, or just like something to keep yourself organized and like consistent throughout your whole student teaching.
I feel like this one's more just for Maddie. Put Maddie on the spot. I mean, we could answer it like for the other part of it, you'll see. It says, why do you want to do middle level instead of elementary?
I do get this question a lot. Everyone's always like, why in the world would you pick middle school?
Yeah.
And just in high school, like I did a lot of like volunteering at different camps and things. And I've always just liked being with like the older kids, like the upper like elementary or middle school. I just like that they're like independent and like can do more on their own and like can handle more responsibilities. And I kind of like more like the content. Like I like a little harder like subject things. So just middle level, I really like it. Like 5th grade and 8th grade are both so different, but I've loved both of them so much.
I like the more like innocence of like a kindergartner and a first grader like coming in, and I like Maddie wants like the hard content stuff. I like teaching them their alphabet and like the sounds of letters and like the very kind of simple things, but those foundational things that they need for the rest of their lives. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I would say the same thing.
I feel like the difference between like elementary and like middle and high school is like we have to plan something different for every like 30 minutes of the day, because like their attention spans are like this big. Whereas once you get to like middle school and high school, you're planning like hour and a half blocks and you're teaching them multiple times. So it's like a little bit maybe less planning. Whereas like we're just like boom, boom, boom every 30 minutes. Whereas like Maddie's taking home like large assignments and grading them.
Yeah,
which
mine definitely is more grading, but
Yeah.
I only plan like really like 1 or 2 lessons like per day that I just repeat like 3 times a day.
Yeah.
So it is like less planning for me, but like the content stuff, like it's kind of harder for me to like write up those things. I gotta make sure like I know what I'm talking about.
That's true. That's true. Like I feel like I can walk in and just like, you know,
You can
know
just,
the thing.
you know how to count.
I'd be
Like, you don't need to practice
I'd be
that.
reteaching myself things if I were you. I'd be like, how do I do this? Okay, next one. I'm trying to like get through this. I guess kind of just me. I don't know. It says, was it difficult managing dance, student teaching, and wedding planning? Which I mean, you guys also manage dance, student teaching, working. I mean, we're all like managing a lot. I would say that people like really talk it up a lot more than what it is. In college, they like to really make it seem like student teaching is gonna be like way harder than it actually is. So if you're like in this field and you're going into student teaching, relax. Like it's really not that big of a deal. It's not that hard. Like it's really not. And same with wedding planning. Like I feel like people also talk that up a lot and really try to make you stress out. And it's really like not as big of a deal as you think. Now I've been engaged for a while, so I've had a long time to like work through things gradually, and I don't know, I feel like it really hasn't been that bad. Like obviously I've had a lot on my plate and I've been like super extremely busy, but I've never been like super overwhelmed and stressed about like student teaching or wedding planning like during this time.
I've like enjoyed student teaching, like instead of like classes or a semester.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like I'm tired, I'm busy, I have a lot to do, a lot of responsibilities, but like I enjoy it. So it's something I like to do. It's not like I'm sitting in a class that I don't really enjoy like learning about what the class is on. Like I like going every day and I like writing my lessons.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I mean, it is what you want to do. Like you went to college to be a teacher, so it's your first real experience actually like pretty much doing that. So I would say it is tiring, but it is what you like to do. And all 3 of us had substituting experience, which I think really helped me because over winter I subbed almost like every day. So I got used to teaching all day long. Yeah. And so I think that kind of helped me prepare too, because I wasn't going into it blind. And I feel like I would have been more stressed trying to figure out like my style, but by substituting I was able to kind of figure that out before this spring. So I feel like I kind of knew what a school day was like, which might help. So if you're not used to a whole school day, I can see why it might be super tiring or like overwhelming if you're going into it and you've never done that before.
Yeah, if you can sub, definitely do it. It was like the best experience, and I felt so much more confident going into student teaching like after doing that.
Yeah, and in like interview processes and stuff, like interviewing for different jobs at this point, I feel like I've had so much more to pull from, especially like because of COVID, like getting our experience cut short a little bit. Substituting has given me like all the experience, like I feel like in the world that I could have had with COVID. Like with the circumstance, like it was the best. Next one, what has been your favorite part of student teaching? I feel like just getting to know my students. Like I just feel like the things they say and like things they do, which like we share funny stories and like things that happen all the time. But like, I don't know, I wake up in the morning and I'm super like tired, but then I get there and they come into the classroom and it like gets better. Like, I don't know, like just getting to see your students every day is amazing, and I don't know, like building the relationships with them.
And you can tell how much they enjoy you being there, which makes it worth it, I feel like, because when I am tired in the morning or am like overwhelmed and stressed, like the one day I went to a training with my teacher and we came back and they like all ran and hugged us. Like they were so excited. So just seeing how much you actually impact them in just one semester was like really like cool to see, because imagine when it's your own classroom for like a whole year. It's just crazy to see how much they actually enjoy you being there and look up to you.
Yeah, I agree with all that.
What are your dream grades to teach?
I would say second for sure, because I always thought I wanted to teach kindergarten, but after subbing in kindergarten, I changed my mind. And I don't really want to go as high as 4th grade, so 2nd grade is like a perfect middle.
My answer is always like kindergarten, 1st, or 2nd, like those 3. I'm certified to 4th, but I just have the least experience in those grades. Like I feel like I would like them, but I don't know. I would say kindergarten or 1st. I would say if I had to choose out of those 3, I would say 1st right now. But that's obviously like also where we're like student teaching.
Yeah.
So that's where we're comfortable.
Yeah, I mean, I've always said like the upper, like middle level grades, like 7th or 8th grade. But after like my student teaching, I think I want like 5th or like 6th grade. I love it so much, and the kids are like awesome. Like it's such a great age like to work with, and I feel like I can still do like some fun like elementary like things, but also like they can handle a little more like more responsibility, more like challenging things. So it's a perfect like in the middle grade.
Do you have a favorite student?
I really wouldn't say I have a favorite student.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I have a favorite. I mean, I definitely have
Ones you might prefer.
ones that I might prefer, like just ones I feel like I click with more.
Ones I have like stronger relationships or connections with, and like they look up to me more. Like they like ones that come to me, like always ask me questions, or like really show that they like me.
And some are just like so funny, or I don't know, like they have different things about them that make them stand out to me. So I don't know, but I wouldn't say I have a favorite.
Yeah, I feel like there's not like one specific one that I'm like, you're the best.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely think I have like my favorite boy and my favorite girl. Like if I think about it, but I don't know.
I feel like I do. What do you think nobody knows about being a teacher? What nobody else knows?
I think that like people don't realize like how much you do that's not just like teaching. Like even me, like I go to meetings all the time. I'm talking to all these different teachers, administrators, like counselors, therapists, like all the time. And there's just so much more than just like teaching or ABCs or like making a lesson. Like there's a lot that goes into it.
Yeah, I feel like people are always like, oh, I could teach numbers or I could teach counting. But I think also what people don't understand is how much, my mom is a teacher and she like always says this, how much like you are needed during the day. Like I sit down at my desk for 1 second and it's like, Miss Smith, like every second you're like needed to do something or being asked questions. Like you are just, I don't know, you're just all day long helping the students. Like it's not like you just get to sit and relax in between teaching. Like there's so much that you have to do, and behavior management, like it's a lot.
It is a lot. It's tiring. Like, it's not as like easy as like some people think.
What is your wildest classroom experience? I feel like that can also go along with your question.
Somebody asked me what the funniest experience we have had so far, or the most challenging. So I guess we could kind of do all 3 at once.
Those are hard. Like wildest? I don't have any wild students, is all I have to say. I don't have any students that are like throwing chairs or standing on desks, like super like bad behaviors.
I think the most challenging experiences I've had is just planning a lesson and it not going as planned. Like, for example, just this past week, I was doing a possessive nouns lesson and I like taught it a little bit, like introduced it, and then I gave them a flip book to make and they had to think of sentences with the picture on top of the flip book. And they just like, I thought it would be so easy for them, and I was pulling groups while they were doing it and none of them were getting it right. Like they were so confused. And it just, something as simple as that can like really throw me off. So I feel like just lessons that don't go as planned can be really challenging, because then you're like, oh wait, what do I do? Because you like kind of plan it out in your head. Like I know during observation sometimes my students are so thrown off by somebody being in the room that you're just like flustered.
I was gonna bring up
So yeah, I would say that would be challenging, like just the unexpected.
Do you have any wild experiences or super funny ones?
Nothing that like is really sticking out. Like a couple weeks ago, I did like learning about plants and just like how plants grow, plant nutrition stuff, and we just did a couple like experiments where we like would grow. We like grew wheat seeds in like dirt. We put one in a clear bag, one in a dark bag to see like how they would grow, and just like asking them to like neatly plant a plant without getting dirt everywhere. It was just like, oh my goodness.
Chaos.
Like yeah, it's just like chaos. But like you get through it and it was fine. But it was just like really test your patience, and like you had to just try to stay calm. But it was all fine. It was good.
And technology can be challenging. Like if you plan to do something on their iPads, on the smart board, I feel like that when you plan a lesson revolving that, it ends up like you don't have internet that day. Like, I feel like every time I've tried to do something cool, it like backfires on me. So I feel like that's challenging. And then funniest, I feel like, so my students do, I could tell tons of stories, but my students do something called shout outs. So during our morning meeting, and this was my co-op's idea, but I just like kept doing it. So they do shout outs, and it's where you can come, you can raise your hand, and I call on all the students that actually raise their hand. Like, we make sure if you wanted to share, you get to share. So it depends on the day. Like, sometimes 5 want to share, sometimes all 20 want to share. So it just depends, but they get to come to the front of the class or sit in their seat, and they get to share whatever is like on their mind that they like want to shout out. And some of the things that I get from the students are just so funny. Should I tell an example?
You can one.
Okay,
I was gonna say the God one.
Oh, okay. So maybe I'll share them quickly. So the first one was, they always tell us about like what they got for dinner the night before, if they went out or what they made. And so I had a little girl who was telling us how she got McDonald's last night. And my teacher was like, oh, when you're with your dad, does he usually cook? Or do you usually go out? And she was like, basically, he can't find a pan. And it's just like so funny because parents would be so like mortified if they knew you just, because you can picture the dad just like running through the kitchen being like, I can't find a pan. So this little girl came to the front of the room and she was like, guys, you will never believe this. And her hands were out. She was so excited. And all the kids were like so focused, like so excited to hear what she was going to say. And she said, I am a child of God. And the room was like silent because all the kids were like, what? And so my teacher and I just started clapping and we were like, yay. We were like, you are. And she sat down. Weird. Yeah. So I would say those two are like the funniest stories that I like to tell.
Okay, I have 2 more on my paper. The next one. What one thing would you say to someone just starting their it says ed. Like, I guess, does that mean college or like elementary ed? Or like
probably like
teaching.
If you're majoring in teaching, like
okay.
Our sophomore year.
Right.
Like,
so what would you say to someone just starting their teaching journey then? It's not the same as how your professors want you to think that it is. I don't know. I don't know. I just feel like in a lot of our classes, the way they like make classrooms seem, or like classroom management, or even like student teaching, like they make it seem like a lot scarier.
Yeah, I agree with that. They really do kind of like, I was like so nervous.
They make you scared.
But it's like fun. Like I like it. It's not that, I mean, it's challenging, but like.
Yeah.
I feel like just don't stress out too much. I feel like if you were truly meant to be a teacher, it comes natural. Like, I was so nervous to just teach lessons, like be in a classroom, be in charge. Like, I know the day before we started student teaching, we had to reflect with our supervisor about what we were most nervous for. And I was like, behavior management. Like, I'm never going to be able to control it. But it really does just come natural. I think you do need to develop that relationship with the students. But from there, I feel like my day is just so natural. Like, I don't know. I don't think I have to try as hard as they make it seem.
I said at the beginning of my like student teaching, my answer to that was lesson planning, just because I feel like in college, lesson planning was always like a big project or part of a big project, and it wasn't like very realistic. So I was like, what does real lesson planning look like? And like now that I've done it all semester, I'm like, it's really not that bad. And I don't know, it's a lot more simple than what they like make you do in class.
Yeah, if it's really something you want to do, like you'll be fine. Like don't let it scare you.
Okay, my last one. Oh, this one kind of went along with it, but it's biggest advice for future student teachers. So I guess specifically like in student teaching, the biggest advice. Plan ahead. I feel like we've already kind of said that.
Be flexible.
Yeah.
Take feedback, because I feel like it's really hard when your teacher might say like, do this, or if your supervisor might say like, oh, have you ever thought about doing this? Like, it's hard because you put so much effort into your lessons that you're kind of like, oh, like my way is the best way. But there's so much room to grow. Like, I feel like every single day on our lesson plans, we have to like reflect on them. And I feel like there's always something I can think of that like I can do better. Like, I don't know. It's just definitely a growing process. So I feel like it's hard to take a step back and like look at yourself and say like, I need to change this, or I should change this.
I was gonna say, go out of your way to build relationships with other people than just your co-op that you're in their room. Like, talk to the other like teachers in your grade. Make sure that you're super friendly and like outgoing to people in the hallway or to the secretary, to the principal especially. Like, I don't know, like just like talking and being friendly and outgoing to other people and like not like being too nervous. Because really like they've all been super nice. Like I feel like I've had a really great experience with everybody else in the school too. Like being super accepting of student teachers.
Yeah, kind of like that. I would just say like stay like professional like the whole time. Like I get told like that I'm like really professional and they like that like people notice things like that. And like definitely like go and like try new things. Like I've visited other classrooms and always be like willing to take on like new things. So like I've helped with like musical when I was in the middle school or like quiz bowl or like safety club. Like always try to do those things because those are great things like to put on my resume, and like my interview people are really like when I like say that I've done those extra things that like I really didn't have to do.
Well, that's all of the questions that I had. I feel like those were really like, some of them were really deep, but I feel like we kind of like covered everything, like kind of broadly. But yeah, thank you guys for joining, making your debut on the channel.
We talked about this video like a month ago.
Yeah,
I was like we should do this.
Yeah, it was a good idea. Hopefully people found it entertaining, whether you're a student teacher or in teaching or not at all, but you're just like interested in kind of what that looks like. I feel like it's kind of an interesting topic. But thank you guys so much for watching this video. Make sure to like and subscribe. We hope you have a great week, and we'll see you real soon. Bye guys.
Bye.